Okay, what's up, you guys? So I wanted to come on here and talk about TYLA because TYLA, what's going on? You know, I think that something isn't translating how in 2023 a lot of people thought it was gonna translate for a TYLA here in the US. So yeah, if y'all want to get into my commentary, my thoughts, all of my feelings around the situation, please like the video and comment down below and subscribe to the channel for more stuff. So yeah, so recently TYLA has released her We Wanna Party mixtape. Now, she calls it a mixtape. Me personally, I would title it an EP, but the reality of the situation is in 2025, when artists, I just feel like when artists call albums or anything, any project that is referred to as an EP or a mixtape, particularly a mixtape especially, it's always put out as a mixtape because the expectation is that the project won't do any numbers. So like another example I can think of is similarly to how Glorilla earlier last year in 2024, before she dropped her debut album Glorious, I can't remember the name of the EP or the mixtape, but she dropped the mixtape in early 2024, like the top of the year, the first 6 months of the year. And then also JT also around July, around this time last year, she dropped her City Cinderella mixtape. And also, who else has dropped an EP as of recently? Or mixtape EP? Oh, Doechii also released her EP, or her, sorry, mixtape, Alligator Bites Never Heal. But all of those artists are not, these super huge artists, and so they, I feel like, put out the title of mixtape because it kind of cleans it up to be like, okay, well, if it doesn't perform too well, at least it's not my album. It's not my album. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel like they're thinking when they're titling it this stuff. So anyways, yeah, TYLA has dropped this EP. I like the EP, you know what I mean? There are about, like I said, there are 4 songs on it. Starting with the first single, which is Bliss. I personally don't really like this song. I feel like it's a little slow and boring. It's not very memorable to me. The only thing that is a little memorable is the fact that in the music video, she was kind of like, it was like a weird transition from her like gyrating on the screen and then her crying, and it was like funny. But anyways, yeah, Bliss is on here. Is It is on here, which is another single that she dropped. I really like Is It. Is It is a pretty like fun party song. Like, we want to party. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I also like Mr. Media. Mr. Media is her talking about the scrutiny that she faces from the public and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's a vibe. It's a vibe, period. It's a vibe. It's a banger. And then Dynamite with Wizkid. I really have not got into too much into this one, but it's cool. Like, if I'm playing the EP, I'm gonna let it play through. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so as of recent, TYLA, I don't think TYLA has been performing to the level that either we thought she would or people were holding her to the standard of. Unfortunately, one thing is, TYLA very early on in her career did, associate herself and say Rihanna's name. And in terms of like wanting to reach that level of acclaim and success. And I think that would have been fine had it been someone who just wasn't so similar in terms of like the origin story, if that makes sense. So like for TYLA, TYLA is South African while Rihanna is from Barbados. I don't know how you Barbadian. Is that how you say, I don't know how you say someone from Barbados, but yeah, Rihanna's from Barbados. And I feel like, just those two, they both started out with their original country music, if that makes sense. So like um for 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 Rihanna, it was dance hall music, and for TYLA, it was I'm a piano, right? And so, or like I'm a piano, also blending, I guess, into Afro beats. Even though she calls Water an I'm a piano song, so I guess I will respect it and call it I'm a piano because that's what she says it is. But yes, so yes, I think that okay. Let's get some more of my thoughts, some more of my notes, y'all. Let me see. Okay, so when it comes to TYLA, right? I'm thinking the label has not really seen a much success in her since Water. And that's no shade, but let's just talk about it. You know what I mean? TYLA had Water, around. I think like actually the song dropped 2 years ago, but it didn't really start picking up. I feel like until maybe like fall, like the start of fall, like maybe September-ish time. Like we're about to be in we're at the end of July, about to be into August. I feel like that song, I remember that song really like blowing up around September, and everyone was doing the Water Challenge back then, right? And so there was like so much buzz around her, there was so much hype around her, and she had even associated or like had mentioned, had brought up Rihanna and like as people who she would want to aspire to be like, right? Or artists who she would want to aspire to have the success and level of acclaim as, right? And so then when she had all that buzz around her, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, since then, there really has not been any song in the US particularly to perform exceptionally well. I think that she had, let me see. I have a tweet here that I put up, and I'm gonna read it out to y'all because yeah. So this person on Twitter was saying Epic Records is weird for not letting TYLA release a full mixtape, and I was like, okay, do you mean a full album, or I guess a mix or a full album? Yeah, full album. And I was like, I definitely agree. If so, I think her label doesn't want to put a full-length project out because her only single she's had perform exceptionally well in the US is Water. Truth or Dare and Push to Start didn't perform as well. I don't think they believe she'll sell, and I believe that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that people are. First of all, streaming is so like the thing, right? And so no one's buying music like that. No one really no one who is of my generation and under, you know what I'm saying, is gonna be like streaming and listening to TYLA bot. Like, we're not buying TYLA music like pure sales wise. Like, we're going to go stream it, right? And so what happens is, okay, and then let me see. I feel like people aren't buying music, people are streaming music, and what's happening is that, streams, you have to stream for it to equate to an album sale. You know what I mean? It takes a lot. And I also said I wish metrics weren't so US centric though, because worldwide TYLA is that girl for sure, in my opinion. Outside of the US, I feel like more people mess with her music, and I definitely agree with that. I feel like when it comes to TYLA outside of the US, I think she's had a lot more chart success with other songs like Push the Star and Truth or Dare. I was actually reading some replies, and I think someone from Sweden, I think, was telling me that like that song like really went up over there. But the thing is though, Tyla's trying to break into the American market because the American market opens you up then to like the whole world, rest of the world even more, you know? I just wish though that metric, like I said in that tweet, I just wish that metric wasn't as important, because at the end of the day, like, you know, yes, the US is I guess an important part here. We are kind of like, you know, some of the culture curators of the world, but I don't know, like, I also feel like United States, like, we're so like off with what the rest of the world is on. And it's like, what I mean by that is like right now, currently, like country music is blowing up here in the United States. But globally, that country music is not doing anything anywhere else. That is literally strictly, very strictly, I don't want to say very strictly, because obviously somewhere in the world there's some, you know, body, I don't know, in the Philippines or in Abu Dhabi or in Japan or in South Africa or in Guatemala or wherever that is listening to country music, sure. But like in mass, like the vast majority of the world, really the only part of the world that is invested in really getting into country music right now are Americans. So we don't have say over the whole world per se, because you see that the country music hasn't translated outside of the US like that. It's very domestic. The country music, it's going up, but it's only going up very domestically here. You know what I mean? So, let me get back to my notes. Hold on. Okay, so another thing recently that has happened is that has kind of let it be known that she is like, you know, not performing to the extent that we kind of thought, which I respect her for coming out and talking about this though, because I feel like this is like real, you know what I'm saying? But yes, she basically put out a video saying that like she was gonna have to do her own hair because the budget was very tight. You know what I'm saying? The budget is the funds are not in plenitude, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? Enough for her to do her hair. Like, she has to save money on her hair, right? And so, you know, I respect her for coming out and talking about this. You know, I feel like this is like, you know, a little bit to be personable and to, you know, just be raw and honest about the situation, because you know, the reality, like I said, is like her music hasn't really performed exceptionally well here in the United States. It just hasn't. Like, the only real song that she's had to go up and that is like holding her still, I feel like, up is Water. And after that, I feel like she had many brand deals. I feel like she's had brand deals with, she's not even, I feel like, no, she's had brand deals with Stanley. She has her own Stanley Cup. I think even with H&M, with Victoria's Secret. She was at the I think she was at the inaugural or like the first since in a long time Victoria's Secret fashion show last year, and she looked amazing. She looked absolutely beautiful. She looked beautiful. I think she even has a brand deal with Bose. I remember Lisa was in that Lisa and Central C and somebody else, I can't remember right now, but Central C and Lisa and TYLA were all in a Bose commercial together. I remember it was somebody else. I can't remember who was the fourth person. Like, I swear to God, it was like a fourth person on that thing. But anyways, it just hasn't been able to translate that well. You know what I mean? And so she dropped her debut album. And I feel like when the debut album dropped, I think initially there were two songs to kind of go up. It was ART first, and then Jump soon after started rising and I feel like started becoming the more popular song. I think because Jump had the feature with Skillabang and Gunna on it, right? And so with that being, you know, with her having those two features on it, especially Gunna, you know, Gunna is Gunna, you know what I'm saying? She was gonna have you know, a pretty successful collaboration. Unfortunately though, I just realized like a couple minutes ago before I started filming this or recording this video that literally Jump never charted in the US. Jump was like, I feel like a popular song, you know, I guess globally or I don't know, but it never actually charted in the US, and that's nuts to me, bro, because I could have sworn, I was like, bro, I swear Jump charted, like at least for like a week or two, you know what I mean? Like, but it didn't. And so the debut album dropped. I personally really like the debut album in its totality. You know, from Butterflies to On My Body with Becky G is probably my favorite song off of the project. She has ART on there. She has what else does she have on there? Water, of course. The only song I really don't like is the Water remix with Travis Scott, just because like for me it wasn't necessary. But yes, we move. So then later on in the year, last year, she dropped her or like very early this year, 2025, or very late last year, 2024. She dropped the deluxe of her TYLA album called TYLA Plus, and it had 3 new songs on there. One was called Back to You, I believe. The other one is called Shake Out, which is my personal favorite from the 3, and then Push to Start, which is the more pop global appeal, right? Which is, it performed really, really well on Spotify. Be very clear. That song performed exceptionally well on Spotify, and it was almost like, I feel like I remember there was so much promotion behind it that I know the label put so much money behind that song, because it was, first of all, that song, it's very reminiscent. It was very reminiscent to me of, I don't know, it not necessarily sonically, but it was something about it was very Pawn to Replay. You know what I'm saying? Like, something about it was very Pawn to Replay. Like, I just felt like, wow, like I'm seeing like Rihanna, like this is very reminiscent of a Rihanna in terms of the visual. You know, she's a black foreign girl, you know? Anyways, she's been trying to break into the American art market, and it unfortunately hasn't been working. Yeah, she ain't been able to break into the American market. Now, this is where we're going to get into some of the reasons why people don't like her. Okay? And I think that this is probably some of the biggest reasons why she has not been able to perform as well as we once thought she would, and as well as I feel like the public first received her, right? So, the first thing that was kind of like iffy or whatever was she went on around the time that she dropped Water, and Water was starting to blow up. She actually had a old TikTok blow up about her talking about her identity as a colored South African woman, right? And so this is an interesting conversation because when it comes to racial categorizations across the world and just in different countries and different places, it's gonna be different from place to place. And I think that this is something, unfortunately, that a lot of Black Americans aren't or weren't or haven't been able to understand, is that racial categorizations differ from here in the United States. They're not going to be the same everywhere you go to. Like, everywhere you go to, everyone cannot and will not, and just like, it just doesn't make sense for people to identify the same way, because everyone is going and having different cultures, having different things going on, you know what I'm saying? And so when that TikTok blew up, I remember there was a tweet, and I'll bring one up, I'll mention one here. they said, because we are absolutely not going to call her colored here, and if she personally demands it, her career will end before it begins. She's trying to cross over into an American market. She won't be able to use that here. She can use it somewhere else though. And I think that unfortunately a lot of Black Americans feel that way. And the problem, so me personally, I'm kind of saying it like I'm not Black American. I want to explain. Me, I am African American and Afro-Colombian, meaning I'm Black, but I do have a Black identity that is foreign, similarly to TYLA, as in foreign to the American Blackness, right? So, I think that what happens is there are different cultures and different people name things different things. Here in the United States, historically, colored has been a term used against Black people in segregation laws, and literally like coloreds are not allowed, whites only. Water fountains, restrooms, stores, restaurants, etc., etc., etc. Many public spaces, were segregated and defined by whites / colored, right? Here in the U.S., whereas colored in South Africa, if I have a correct understanding, and if I don't have a correct understanding, please someone get down in the comments and correct me, okay? But if I have a correct understanding, essentially what it means to be colored is it just means that you are a person who is, you have Black in you, and you do descend from some of the like African tribes in that particular region in Africa, but you just also have admixture in you from like other races, Irish, whatever, right? And so Irish, Indian, etc., etc., etc. And so that is what it means to be colored. Essentially, if I understand correctly, for what we would say here in America or here in the United States, we would essentially call TYLA mixed, right? TYLA's mixed with whatever she's mixed with, right? And so that didn't come over too well with people here, because I remember a lot of TikToks, people being like, why is she calling herself colored? Why is she doing this? Da, 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 da. And it's just like, y'all, like, bro, the whole world don't revolve around the United States, bro. I'm so sorry. Like, y'all just gonna have to understand, the whole world don't revolve around the United States, and other people got other things that they would plot and identify themselves as just based off of how they literally grew up. You know, like you know what I'm saying? She then went on The Breakfast Club. Don't know why she went there. But she then went on The Breakfast Club, and unfortunately, Charlamagne kind of like lit her up, or like not lit her up, but kind of put her feet to the fire and asked her right there, what does it mean for you to be a colored South African woman? And framed it like she was in the wrong for calling herself that, as if she hadn't been calling herself that her whole life, and that never meant nothing derogatory. You know what I'm saying? So then she had to come out and essentially put out this tweet. She said, I'm mixed with Black, Zulu, Irish, Mauritian, Indian, and colored. I'm a in South Africa, I would be classified as a colored woman, and in other places, I would be classified as a Black woman. Race is classified differently in different parts of the world. Facts. I said facts. I don't expect to be identified as colored outside of South Africa by anyone not comfortable doing so, because I understand the weight of that word outside of South Africa. But to close this conversation, I'm both colored in South Africa and a Black woman. As a woman for the culture, it's and not or. With that being said, Asambe. So I don't know what Asambe means. I guess Asambe is like love or something. I don't know. But yeah, you know, I just think that still didn't really clean up the situation. And I think that literally her reaction to when Charlemagne asked her that question was she literally turned around to her publicist and went like this. She said, like, she literally turned her whole neck around. That was so crazy. I don't know why she did that. That's the key though. It was funny. But yes, it's just, I don't know. I think another reason why TYLA has been kind of like not really liked is because Armand Wiggins, around the time that she won her first VMA, around the time that she won her first VMA for Water, she went up and accepted the award. The presenters were Halle Bailey, sorry, child. Halle Bailey and who else? And Halle Bailey and Halle Bailey and Lil Nas X, okay? Shout out to Lil Nas X. And they were the presenters of the award to her, and when she went up to accept the award, she went up and accepted the award, and she basically was like, oh my god, this is so heavy, like, could you hold this for me? And so she was gonna hand it first to Halle, and then she then handed it over to Lil Nas X, and then, cause like Halle looked at her and was like, girl, I'm not about to hold your award, girl, like, this is your award, girl, hold your award, girl. But yeah, Lil Nas X went and held it for her, and then after that, shortly after, Armand Wiggins got on his platform and said, on his Twitter, he said, hey, I don't think I like TYLA's personality. I think someone needs to check her because she doesn't understand American culture at all. She almost gives off entitled or uppity African. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very off-putting, and it's almost like she expects everyone to just fall to her feet. That got 5.2 million impressions or views, and it was heavily heard around the world because not only did TYLA hear about it, but other people heard about it too, and that was something that was very popular. Like, a lot of people put uppity African on her now because Armand Wiggins said that. And I remember back in that time, she even went in her bio and put uppity African, and I think she even changed her whole name on Twitter to uppity African. Girl, I think it's a key, and I'm still rocking with you. But I don't know how that translated over to the American audience. I just don't. I don't know. No say. So, yes, these are, some of the reasons why I feel like TYLA is kind of not performing to the level that we kind of thought she was, or would expect it to be, or just like with so much hype around Water, you would think that it just would like kind of roll in and continue on, I personally am still rocking with TYLA. I'm still listening to her music. I'm still listening to her album. I love Shake Ah. I love On My Body with Becky G. I love what other songs I like by TYLA? I like that song with Ira Star. I like a lot of songs by TYLA, and I'm still gonna be here to support and stream and listen. You know what I'm saying? Just because I feel like she's a good artist and she can really sing really well, and she's pretty. She can dance. She can perform pretty well. And yeah. So hopefully it can get right for TYLA. I feel like those two things really, like the fact that the Black American audience isn't really vibing with her because she has kind of doubled down on the fact that she's colored, which I don't feel like she's wrong. Honestly, I feel like the audience is wrong. The black people, I feel like we are in the wrong because it's like, y'all don't understand, baby. Other people got different stuff going on around the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not American. She's from someplace else. And for her being someplace else, there are going to be different identifiers, different things. Like, everyone doesn't even speak English, bro. Like, You think things translate perfectly across languages? Like, I don't know. I don't know. These are just my thoughts. I hope that TYLA can have a more successful career. You know, I hope that this is just like a blip. You know, honestly, these artists, you know, there's always an opportunity. You know, one thing I will say is like Glorilla, and I feel like Glorilla is, I mean, like TYLA's bigger than Glorilla. Like, Glorilla don't got no song that got no billion streams on it. Okay, it's no shade and no shade. Just for the simple fact that Glorilla is like more global. She's a, I mean, no, sorry, TYLA's more like global appeal. She's a singer. Glorilla's a rapper. Like, so if basically what I'm trying to say is if Glorilla can have a comeback year like she had in 2024, 2025, TYLA can have a comeback year, no problem. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, all it is a matter of the song going up, and then after that, it's gonna go up. So yeah, I think these are all my thoughts. If y'all have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, please let me know y'all thoughts down below in the comments. I would be so interested to know your thoughts because I feel like TYLA is a really good artist, and I don't want to see her just like. She's not fading off into obscurity by any sense or by any means, and she's not flopping by any means. Like, she is literally uber successful across the world, except for really here, domestically here in the United States. And so, yeah, hopefully y'all like this video, and let me know your thoughts, and I will chat to y'all later. Bye.